All right, welcome, brains, to another Wake Your Dumb Ass Up morning show. Today, Charlie Kirk's wife said, what? Oh my God, people. It's like when I speak, it is scripture and it becomes the truth. If you've paid any attention for the last 3 episodes, I've hit this one on the fucking 100% head. Charlie Kirk's wife, at the guy's funeral, says, what? What'd she say? What'd she say again? Someone tell me. What that bitch say? Okay, so if you've been paying any attention, let's rewind a little bit before we get to what that bitch said. All right. Obvious psyop. You guys are all being clowned on. That was one perspective, right? The other perspective was Jesus assassinated Charlie Kirk. Jesus did it. All of the stars and the universe and the planets and everything, all the dust and the wind and the termites and every car, every honk horn, every person, every thought, every moment passed perfectly for Charlie to get ricochet assassinated by a rifle now? It wasn't even a sniper, it was a rifle. Wow. Jesus must have really had it in for Charlie to take him out like that. Wow. Right? That was the other perspective. Now, I went deeper and explained some things, right? A bit more about those perspectives. Why one would come to think about those things. Quite obviously, naturally, as Who's On First would say. Now, let's fast forward again to just recently. Charlie Kirk's wife said at the guy's funeral, like a week later, it's been a week, after he was sacrificed like a halal fucking animal. He's kosher now. His meat is kosher. She has the audacity to go on at the guy's funeral, standing over his grave, I forgive the guy who shot you. And why does she say? What does she say next? Keywords here, people. Why does she say it this way? Well, if you tuned into Big Brain University and you had a fucking clue because your dumbass was woken up, you'd already know. The puzzle piece would have fit immediately for you. You would have said, you fucking Rika. She said, I forgive Charlie's killer, assassinator, because, now pay attention to the wording here very closely. It is what Jesus did. So in other words, what you're saying is, a.k.a. Jesus assassinated Charlie Kirk. So you're forgiving Jesus because it's what he did. I would say, now that's the sound of the crowd in an uproar after I just grand salamied that pitch. Oof. Oof. Does it raise the hairs on your skin just a little? Does it make sense that information can come through your brain? And if you just perspectivize it a little bit instead of, I believe, I want to believe, fucking stupid ass attachment. You want to assume something? Is that what you're trying to say? Ye of little fucking experience? I just said retard nicely. I believe. Okay, I hear a low IQ kind of moron. I don't give a fuck what you believe. I understand that's your little brain, your little ego, attached to an assumption that you probably have no fucking evidence for. Real evidence. Oh, sure, you got a bunch of facts, blah, blah, blah. Book says this. That's not evidence. Now, what I do, I perspectivize. I do not believe. I do not attach to a certain narrative, especially emotionally. I analyze the situation, the information, the facts, and then perspectivize what could be happening here. What do we have here? And what if this, and if then that? It's called science. Yes. Scientific thought. Yes. Okay. Implementation of scientific thought results in, an idea that should be, if you did your analyzations correctly and carefully considered each parameter, you should arrive somewhere close to the truth. Somewhere where you can have an idea of what the truth might be, to where you are in a state of openness to the universe where you can receive more information about that perceived truth. Do you get how this works yet? It's quite simple. You sit and you wait. You wait for more information. But all of you, what did you all do? Did you wait for more information? No. You chose to believe the television because you assumed it can't be lying to you. All those people couldn't do this. They can't. It just couldn't happen. It has to be true. None of the possibilities that it was fake are true. It's just not even possible. Okay, well, you believed that, so you're attached to this thing now, and you think it's heavenly, holy passage. When you get to God in the final judgment day, you're going to be like, I knew it the whole time. And God's going to be like, yeah, no, you didn't. You didn't even wait for more information. You didn't even implement any sort of responsible thinking. So, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Fucking fuck asses. Try to pass a guy and then someone else got to go 75 on a fucking 65 mile an hour road. Like, jeez. I'm trying to wait till the lines are proper. This guy's just like, I'm going to risk my life and everything, pass over a hill. Like, what? Why are you being so stupid? You see? That's a perfect example of how other people are just totally fucking idiotic in their own tunnel vision beliefs. The belief system gives you tunnel vision. Oh, I believed I am driving correctly. I believe I'm a great driver. Just like most people think that, oh, they're a professional fighter in a situation where they would have to fight, but yet they've never thrown a punch in their life. It's in fucking insane, the level of actual delusion that people have just surrounding like their belief mentality, because they assume things and will attach to falsities so quickly. It's so easy to manipulate people. I'm going to shift this episode from how we just big brained the fuck out of that last psyop to the point that we called it out on Jesus being the assassinator, and then the guy's wife who got assassinated said that I forgive the killer because it's what Jesus did. Verbatim. It's what Jesus did. That's exactly how she said it. No descriptive words in there except for it is it. Well, what's it? What it? It is what Jesus did. I forgive him because it is what Jesus did, aka Jesus assassinated him. So I, as a Christian, obviously have to forgive Jesus, and Charlie, as a Christian, obviously have to forgive Jesus, because he aligned everything so perfectly, as I mentioned, all the details in the world had to align so perfectly for him to get hit like that, that of course she can't blame Jesus for that. She would be blaming her Savior for assassinating her husband. Do you guys understand what a conflict of faith that would be? And if you've been here long enough to have been around when Kevin has been around, and we've talked more about the Christianity thing more deeply, that you worshiping Christianity itself is more like feeding the actual beast that you think is coming after you. A more vampiric method of soul sucking you, sticking you into a belief box. It's a Kabbalistic spell trap. What's Kabbalah? It's knowledge of how yourself and your psyche works. What consciousness is. Things like that. The study of the pure mind. So they use how you work against you with belief. They just usurp your operating system with an inferior operating system like Windows. It's like you had an excellent operating system go on, now they installed Windows, and now you believe all this shit. And it's a fantasy land. But most people will not consider that they have created a fantasy land reality for themselves that they've believed themselves into. None of it is real. They don't want to believe that because it crumbles, it shocks their whole way of being. It's like a shock to their core. So where I'm shifting to here is, I used to kind of like want to wake people up. Like, maybe it's still true. Like, I feel like if more people are awake, then the world would wake up. We wouldn't have these problems because they would see through this illusion. All these beliefs and bullshit. But more often than not, what I see happening as a result of me giving people information and sparking a catalytic event in their life, like a decision that they'll make, right? An idea, spark it into their mind. Or just give them information. Like, for example, giving them information from the path, basically. Like the path of... Let's just skip what the path is, because I can't get into describing what that is on top of this. But giving them information in it to like enlighten them and awaken them, spark the divine within them. Often what I see is it leads to like their self-destructive behavior. So, for example, there was one time that I told a girl, well, not a girl, a woman to specify, about righteous hatred, righteous anger, things like that. And what she interpreted that is whenever she is angry, it's righteous because just because, but not for any divine reason other than she's just frustrated and doesn't want to deal with her frustration, so she throws out, I'm righteously hateful right now. Like, okay, what? That righteous hatred is not hating somebody or something. Okay, that's the incorrect version of righteous hatred. It's the understanding of being hateful while not being hateful. The observance of your hateful feelings and emotions while not acting on them. But what she took it as, well, acting on my hate is righteous. And so it's like, yeah, that kind of backfired on me because it got her in this state where she couldn't deal with her. Like, guys might know what I'm talking about. Women even might know what I'm talking about. You get in an emotional state as a woman sometimes and you cannot pull them out of it. They're just pissed off because of some other reason that they'll never actually tell you. Understand? Ulterior motives, lies, dishonesty, just them not knowing themselves. It's kind of basic human behavior. Behavior 101, so I'm not trying to pick on the gal for, like, you know, making that mistake. But what I am throwing out there is just the possibility for you all to think about, and where I'm kind of at. Not that I haven't been here before in my thoughts, I'm just maybe shifting a little bit. Maybe instead of always wanting to roar, maybe just blend in. Almost, let's akin it to Star Wars, a movie, just because it's a metaphor that I think a lot of people have seen and will understand. Obi-Wan Kenobi, before he meets Luke, when he's living in the desert of whatever, Tatooine or something, and he's living out in the cave. Nobody really speaks with him. He's just kind of a total lone dude out there, right? And he's just waiting. He's not out there like awakening people to the Force, right? He's just waiting for the world to present itself, that it's ready for the information that he has. So that's kind of, metaphorical enough to what I've been kind of thinking about, because here I am, I put myself out there to a point where I'm saying these things, and if somebody wanted, they could go tell my boss about it. They could find out where I work and live and all those things. So putting information out on the internet these days comes with a security risk that you have to mitigate. It's just how it is. Every person, it's just pretty obvious. Now, it's been very normalized to, like, put your digital self, oh, this is who I am out there. While I've always approached this as, you do not know me because of the digital information that you've heard me give you. You don't fucking know me because of that. I can choose to put out information in any way that I want. This is what you people don't understand is being used against you, is there are active people out there that know how to manipulate you. So they're going to tell you whatever they need to tell you to get you to do something. It's hacking 101. It's like manipulate the person. It's psychological manipulation. That's all it is. Behavioral manipulation. That's all it is, guys. And you can condition someone's behavior. You can, over time, by giving them slow doses of information, right? Just what I'm talking about here. Giving you all information to awaken. Wake your dumb ass up! You know? I'm not here to hear myself talk. I'm here to share thoughts that I feel like people need to hear. And a guy in the National Security Agency also thought that when we got to talking, hey, people should be hearing this, because it's so useful just to talk these things through in an intelligent fashion that people don't do, in an analytical, scientific thought fashion. So when I met Kevin, that's what we did, and it became Big Brain University. You know, we weren't really setting out to change the world. We were setting out to have an effect. And what the effect was created was, well, there's this potential for this space on the internet to fill it with Big Brain University. It'll fit kind of the narrative of what we've been talking about, and it'll be a unique, familiar method of delivering people information who want to seek it. Okay. So here we are, current day, where Jesus assassinated Charlie Kirk, and his wife forgave Jesus at said funeral of, 7 days later, 6 days later. You gotta be something to believe that. Basically, to put it simply, without putting anybody down, because there's a lot of smart people who are believers, who still practice belief mentality. And it's really no knock to them, but I just feel like they haven't been showed a perspective where, like, hey, your thoughts can put you in a box where you're going to trap yourself spiritually and energetically. And there's probably an agenda and a purpose for this existence and those things being available for you to do that, you know, to put you in those belief boxes. Not to get into how life is a journey of discovering the self and this and that, which most religions teach, that divinity and the self, God, is within you, and that your purpose here is to understand the psyche and the ego, and then therefore act and behave and think in a righteous manner, in a divine manner. But you have things like Christianity, who seek to take the divinity out of you and put it through a medium, somebody else. You have to talk to a priest to talk to God, all right? You have to go to church to talk to God. But then they also teach that you pray to God and that He'll listen. But really, it's the whole time you're praying to yourself. You just don't understand what yourself is. Christianity does not teach those things. And some will say, oh, yes, it does. Some Christianity does. The mystic Christians. It's like, okay, well, a mystic Christian, that doesn't actually even make sense. Terminological and definitional sense. It doesn't make sense to put those together. They're kind of the opposite of each other. So, yeah, it's a kind of a disease for the mind. Like I said, it's a belief box, man. Some people are just super cool in their little belief boxes, and they don't mind it, you know. And I'll add to this, I even like how some of the people are. Like, I don't want to wake them up because I don't really mind how they are right now. Like, I'll just say it out loud. My boss is a Christian. Like, full believer. I think they go like Catholic, maybe even. I don't know for sure, but they like go to church on Wednesdays and shit. And I respect the hell out of the guy. Like, he's a cool dude. He's always been nice to me. We never clashed. Like, I'm sure we don't see eye to eye on everything, but you know, smart guys know that that's the way that it is. We don't want to see eye to eye on everything. We want to be able to have different perspectives. That's what we can add to the situation. We can augment each other by doing that, not by being the same, by being different within the same framework, right? And Christianity for him at that point, it doesn't get him to the point that him and I can sit and have like more of a spiritual philosophic conversation, because it's always going to get like cut off. You have to have the experience talking to somebody to know what I'm talking about on that. But so again, what I'm trying to get at here is just when considering these perspectives, you know, I don't want to be attached to just one perspective of the world where I have to do something to put out this information to spark this change in the world. Because sometimes that also has consequences that I don't want to see. That would affect me, you know? Would affect my routine. So there's a lot of like consideration for others here, where it's like sometimes maybe even though I could awaken them and help them there on that path, like maybe they're just better off. Because when I went on that path, I was like, all right, I'm giving up everything. I got in the total unattached from everything mode, and I did it. You know, I went and unattached from everything, gave up all my possessions and all that shit. You know, only the things that I absolutely needed. to get me from point A to point B. Total nomad living. I could have went anywhere. I don't know if, my sister, for example, says things like, I need to discover myself. I need to figure it out. And it's like, well, yeah, I can help you with that. But what that's going to cause you to do is want to let go of everything and go discover. And really, you're in a good situation where it's like, you have a house, you have a job, you have everything that you need to create sanctuary for yourself. And I don't want to watch you throw all those things away in search of what you already have. Like, you don't need to go full circle like I did to get where you already are, in a sense. Because when I look back and it's like, man, if I had bought a house, like, right out of college or something, like, if I'd have just went to finished college, got a job, bought a house, I just kind of wonder. Because buying a house, man, it really, like, leaves it has this weight off your shoulders. Takes a lot of pressure off your, as long as you're in a situation where you can afford it comfortably, where you're not living paycheck to paycheck and, oh my God, I can't save any money, like, it's going to be 1,000 years before I ever get out of this. It's like, don't put yourself in that pinch where you're going to stress. People, okay, yeah, there's stresses in owning a house. This might break, that might break. You got to do upkeep, you got to mow the lawn, this and that. But those are things that people on a path of seeking to connect with themselves, those are just self-discipline tools that you can use to ground yourself and be like, no, this is my discipline tool. This is what I need to do. These are my chores. Like, we live in this society where we kind of get conditioned where everything's just sort of supposed to be handed to you. You can pay for somebody to fix everything for you. But now when people are getting pinched monetarily and quality manufacturing, like, all these things come together and align now to create a situation in society where it's like, well, those who have stuck to a disciplined path are finding themselves in a comfortable situation now because of that prior discipline. Those who are still seeking that disciplined self are the ones feeling that pinch. And this isn't just a static, broad, sweeping generalization that's absolutely true for everyone. It's a generalization that's going to be true for most. So, again, what I'll close on in a moment here, not to get rushed to hang up, but maybe think about that in your own spheres. And when you all do that, maybe more information will present itself to me about maybe what direction to take with all this information and this big brain university, this library and wealth of awakening information that we have collected, recorded, and just kind of see where I might go. I mean, I can see myself in certain situations. I have all this merchandise created where now the look is official. If I ever do want to go on camera and do videos, I'll have all my brain gear. So I'll be doing my thing, lock in. I'll be locked in already, I'm just I'm seeing my futures, my different paths, envisioning what do I want to do? And considering, the sanctuary of my own self, what's best for everybody else? And see, I don't think that I'm qualified to answer that question. So I'm in a state of looking for an answer, open to the universe, to science, to whatever, to the wind blowing me in the right direction, to the synchronicities occurring, connect with my higher self. What's the path, buddy? Where are we going here? Because the path is there. When you move in the divine, you move righteously type of thing, the synchronicity will occur. We don't need to get into all that. See, there's so much good information to just share to people where it's like, God, it's just this little bit of information just can change somebody's life so much, because they were just open to receiving something that they've been belief boxed in before. But again, what are the risks of awakening people? I guess that's the question. I can tell you that, hey, I can outline all those details to the point where I make a video that, nobody out there was like, Jesus has to be Charlie Kirk. I would be willing to bet you that it was me alone. Maybe there were others who were entertaining such a narrative. Maybe. But on the level that they could connect all these synchronistic details and voice it to you, deliver it to you where you can perceive like, oh. And then at the guy's funeral, his wife says it's what Jesus did. I mean, it's not like I said it after she said that. I said that before she said that. It's like they're getting their fucking talking points from me, It's like, what if I hadn't said that? Would she have still said it the same way? So these things I can only observe if I take the passive role, the observer role, the role of Obi-Wan, where I have all this to give you, but I'm not going to give it to anybody who's not seeking it. You know what I mean? Hear what I'm saying?